Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Today is part 26 of my so far 26-part series on building a fitness database and whether or not you're building a fitness database. Everything covered in this database series is great for just about any database you can think of. Fitness just happens to be the backdrop. So let's get back to it. All right, so we are working with the food logs still. And one problem we have so far, oh, by the way, I forgot I was going to mention all these buttons up here. Check this stuff out. This is part of my new calendar database that I'm working on to replace my old one. But I got all these different buttons in here. So you can go left and right a month, right? Or you can go left and right a year if you want to, or go to a specific date, type in the date you want, right? Or you can change the display, say 3 weeks. So if you want more control over your buttons, I got like back and forth a week button here too. This will be in my upcoming new calendar seminar 2.0. So that'll be available soon. Plus I figured out how to get colors down here. It's going to be cool. All right, that was just a teaser, a little bit of advertising. Okay, so what we're going to cover today is this guy. So we can go back and forth between dates up here without a problem. But when it comes time to edit this, it gets confusing. Right? Because now Access goes into this, which is the date format with the time in there. And I just want just the time. I don't want to see that date. But you can't do that. You can't just put in here 9 a.m. I mean, you can. But now watch what happens if I leave this and come back to it. That serial's gone. Why? Because I put in 9 a.m. And 9 a.m. by itself is just 9 a.m. I think it's technically a date in 1899, December something 1899, if you put just the time in there. So we don't want that. We want to put the date in there too. Okay? But I want to just see the date there. And when I click on this, I'm going to just edit a date. Still let the user type in the date if they want to change what date this item is on. But I want to be able to just type in 10 a.m. and have it know to put it on 10 a.m. on this date. So that's what we're going to do today. It's going to get a little bit confusing, but just stick with me. Don't worry about it. Now, there's no easy way to do that in place with this bound date field. You can't even put an input mask on it. Watch. If you come in here and try to put an input mask to control the input, right? Input mask, I'll use one of the default ones. Let's just use like this one. That's perfect. Medium time. Okay, do that. All right, that's what it looks like. Yeah, input masks are confusing, I know. Even for me. I don't remember all those formats because I barely use input masks. I don't generally like input masks. I don't spend a lot of time with them. But now look what happens. All right, we come in here and it still shows that, but even with the input mask in place. And this is one of my pet peeves with Access. The input mask is often ignored in bound date time fields. That's just a behavior of Access. I don't like it. That's just how it is. So get rid of the input mask. We're not going to use input masks. What we are going to do instead is a little workaround that I developed way back when I built my account balances database. I'll show you that one later. Well, I'll show it to you now. Why not? All right, here's my account balances database. And this is just a simple database that you can use. You put all your accounts in it, and you just go through like once a week or whenever you want to do it. I do it a couple times a week. You put in what your balances are, and it keeps track of what you have to, what you have to pay, right? But sometimes if you're looking at a list of items on like your credit card website, you got to do math in your head or pull up the calculator or whatever. So what I wanted was a way where I could say, okay, let's click on here. And let's say I've got a $120 charge. So I can go minus 120 and then a $90, so minus 90 and then minus 85 or whatever. Press enter and the system figures it out and does the math for you. See? But in order to do that, you have to use a trick that I'm about to show you. Okay? I'll put a link to my account balances database down below, by the way. It's really cool. So what we have to do is we have to use a text box, a bound text field to display this the way we want, receive the user's input, and then do what we want with it. Okay? So let's start off by going to our food log table. Now, I will warn you that any data that you have in here, you're going to have to run this through that. All right, all of these dates. You shouldn't be, we just started building this, so you shouldn't have too much actual live data in here yet. Don't start putting like data that you care about in databases that you're building with me until I tell you that it's a good time, because we're still going to do a lot of breaking this database and doing stuff with it. So don't fall in love with your data yet. All right, we're still in the building phase. So what we're going to do is we're going to add right in here. I'm going to insert a row. We're going to add a field called food time text, and that's going to be a short text field. It's literally going to be only for the purposes of displaying that value. And we have to bind it to the table because it's a continuous form, and that's the only way we can get it to display. If we leave it unbound, then every record will appear to have the same value. So yes, we're saving some data in the table that is for display purposes only, and the real value will be in here still. Okay? All right. Save it. Close it. Now, if you want to go in here and add these values in here, that's fine. You can. Because what it's going to look like, it's going to end up looking like this. So this one will be 02, or we can just go 2 o'clock p.m., right? This one, and I'm typing these in for now, but you get it, right? 9 o'clock a.m. This one will be 11:09 p.m. I don't care about seconds, so we'll be filtering those off. This is 4:48 p.m., and this one is 8:05 p.m., all right? So that's what it's going to look like when we get it onto the form. So let's go do that next. All right, here's our form. We're going to come in here. We're going to open up this guy. We can close that. All right, so right now this is bound to that actual date field. We're going to change this to the food time text, the control source, and the name, and we're going to get rid of that format. We're going to handle the formatting in code. Okay, save it. Now what we're going to do is in this guy's before update event, right, where are you? Before update, right there. We're going to validate the input and make sure that it's an appropriate value. Okay? Benefit of a before update event, again, is you can look and see what the user entered and then allow them to continue or not. You can cancel the event, right? So the first thing we're going to do is make sure it's a valid date time value. All right, because they can enter a date here, and if they do, we'll deal with that in a minute. All right, so if not, IsDate food time text, then they entered something that's not a date. And the nice thing about the IsDate format is it'll look at a string value and determine, before you do any conversions or saving it anywhere, it'll determine if that is a valid date or time, right? And we'll just message box invalid date time. And you can do whatever else you want there as far as the messaging goes. Cancel equals true. True will cancel the event, exit sub. I can't type today. All right. So now if we get down here, now we have a valid date time value. Let's see if it has a date component or a date. Yeah, I'm going to say component because I don't want to put date part there because date part is an actual function. I don't want you to get confused with that. Okay, so now that we know that this text field has a valid date in it, or a date or a time, right? Now we can save that in an actual date field, a date variable in here. So dim d as a date. Okay, now we're going to say d equals CDate food time text. All right, CDate is a function that will convert a string value into a date value, CDate. There's a whole bunch of type conversion functions, CDate, CByte, CBool, CCur, CVar, all kinds. Here they all are. Yeah, and I cover them in this video if you want to learn more. All right, so the value that we want to deal with now is in D, right? And we're going to say if they entered in a date part, that means just save that whole value in the table. Right? Now, how do we know if it's got a date part? There's a couple different ways. My favorite way is just to say if D is greater than or equal to 1, then has a date component. Because anything less than 1 is going to be just a time, right? Because 1 is a whole day. So 1 would be midnight on day 2, right? And if that's the case, food date time, which is our date time value in the table, equals D. Otherwise, it's just a time, and we can say food date time equals whatever day we're on, log date. That's the date up top, right? That's this guy. That's log date. Just add the time to that, plus D, and if. Okay. One thing you could also do in here, if you want to, is check the date range. Right? You could say it's got to be between this, set of years. For example, you don't want it too far in the past or too far in the future because they might have entered an invalid date. So if the year of D, because remember, D now holds that date time value. If the year of D is less than whatever you want to make it, let's say 1900. That's going back too far. Let's go the year 2000, right? If it's less than 2000 or the year of D is greater than 2100, right? Then message box, invalid year, cancel equals true, exit sub. Because sometimes they'll just type in a 5, right? And that'll just, 5 is a valid date time, right? Day 5, which is back in 1899, I think still. Okay. All right. And that should do it. Let's see. Save that. That's a lot of code. So let's debug compile once in a while. There we go. Let's come back out here. Let's close it, open it. All right. Looks like I got some bogus stuff in here. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, good. Well, let's delete this guy. All right. Let's change you to 1 p.m. Invalid year. Okay. Oh, okay. Hang on. Anybody catch that? I put this code in the wrong spot. Okay, because we do want to allow values less than that. This should be inside of the it has a date component right in here. So in other words, there. They gave us a valid date, but it's outside our date range. Okay, and let's clean this up just a touch. There. Okay. Because what I typed in here, when I changed this to 5 p.m., there, that's good. And I'll allow that. And if I go to the next record, let's see, previous, next. Okay, good. It kept it. Now, we do want to apply our own format to that. I don't want to just leave it at 5 p.m., even though that's valid. Right? If I come in here and look at the food log, that 5 p.m., that's valid. It kept it. But I want these to all be uniform. Okay? So let's apply our own format. Let's come down here, and I'm going to say food. Let's format the text field properly. Right? So food time text, the text box that I'm working with, equals format food date time, comma, and let's put it in the format that we want, h:NN AM/PM. Okay, let's save it. Debug compile. Come back out here. I'm going to type in again 5 p.m. and the macro is preventing. What happened? We got a problem. And we'll discuss this problem in tomorrow's video. See what I did there? I did a little cliffhanger. I knew that was going to happen. I've had this happen a million times before, but we'll fix it tomorrow. Members, I'm going to record tomorrow's video right now so you can watch it in just a few minutes. But everybody else, you got to wait till tomorrow. But that's going to do it for part 26, folks. Hope you learned something. Live long and prosper. I'll see you tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button right now and give me a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. And make sure you click that bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. Do you need help with your Microsoft Access project? Whether you need a tutor, a consultant, or a developer to build something for you, check out my Access Developer Network. It's a directory I put together personally of Access experts who can help with your project. Visit my website to learn more. Any links or other resources that I mentioned in the video can be found in the description text below the video. Just click on that Show More link right there. YouTube's pretty good about hiding that, but it's there. Just look for it. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, tables, all that stuff. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? And if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. That's it. And it's free for members of my YouTube channel at any level. Speaking of memberships, if you're interested in joining my channel, you get all kinds of awesome perks. Silver members get access to all of my extended cut TechHelp videos, and there's hundreds of them by now. They also get one free beginner class each month, and yes, those are for my full courses. Gold members get the previous perks plus access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my TechHelp videos. Plus, you get access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions and all kinds of source code that I use. And gold members get one free expert class every month after completing the beginner series. Platinum members get all of the previous perks, plus they get all of my beginner courses, all of them from every subject. And you get one free advanced or developer class every month after finishing the expert series. And you can become a diamond sponsor and have your name listed on the sponsor page on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time.